My name is Jenny Vanderlyn. I'm the Associate Director at the Center for Dairy Profitability, UW-Madison Division of Extension, and I also coordinate the Heart of the Farm program. For those that online that aren't familiar with the Heart of the Farm program, it's a UW-Madison Division of Extension program that addresses the needs of farm women by providing education on farm business management topics and connecting them with agricultural resources and creating support networks. We've started doing programs in about 2002, and we have continued hosting typically about 5 to 7 one-day conferences per year. But this year, due to the COVID-19, we were unable to host any of the conferences that we had. And so we got together and tried to think of a way that we could do something online, and hence the coffee chats where you are participating in today for the kickoff of it. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail towards the end of this session about where you can sign up for more online chats and a little bit more about the actual program. But for right now, we're going to, Joy Kirkpatrick, Outreach Specialist at the Center for Dairy Profitability, will be introducing our keynote speaker, Jess Peters at Spring Row Farms.
Jess Peters is a farmer from Northwest Pennsylvania, where she owns and operates Spruce Row Dairy Farm with her parents and brother. For the last few years, she has shared her life on social media via Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and now TikTok. We might have to have her do a little training on TikTok at some point. She also writes for some industry publications and online blogs. You may have seen her blog on the Hordes Dairyman website. She shares her dairy farming lifestyle in everything she does. She's the author of a kids book called Farm Nursery Songs that features popular kids songs rewritten to talk about her farm, her family, and cows. Her approach to social media is to entertain and maybe educate a little way along the way. She's also become an avid advocate for bringing mental health issues to the forefront in the agricultural community. So welcome, Jess, and you can start sharing.
Thank you for that introduction. It's always pretty awkward to like sit here and hear people talk about you, even though I knew what you're going to say because I, helped send you the bio. So first of all, I feel like we did a practice thing this a few days ago, and they told me all the like features I could use, which made me super excited because I like using features. So I'm going to put up, they have these polls that you can answer. And the first poll is the question I feel like every single person is asking on these Zoom calls. Do you think I'm wearing pants right now? Just answer as you want while I start talking there. Wow, coming in pretty fast. Okay, I thought the no pants was going faster than it should have gone. I am in fact wearing sweatpants. They're basically just barn pants because come on. I was gonna maybe do my hair and my makeup, and then I thought, one, if you follow me on social media, you wouldn't recognize me, and two, I have been a farm girl tomboy my whole life, so I don't know how to use makeup. So this is what you get. So anyway, I shouldn't be, but I'm always slightly surprised when people ask me to speak at things because I don't know. Like you hear at big conferences, people are like, I'm an expert at this. I don't ever feel like I'm an expert at anything because as soon as I start to feel like I'm an expert, all of my calves get sick or something. Like I've been doing this my whole life. Shouldn't I be an expert at raising calves? And then one day 6 of them won't drink and I'm like, fine. I guess I'm never going to be an expert at anything because if I was going to be an expert at anything, those are the results, by the way. Thank you for most of you telling me I'm wearing pants. I appreciate your faith in me. So I'm going to share my screen with you because I do have a few slides. I'm not an expert at Zoom, so hopefully this all works out the way it's supposed to. There it goes. Hopefully you can still see the slides and still see me. So I'm going to talk about, if you've been following me on social media at all, you know that for the last year or two, mental health in agriculture has been something really kind of close to my heart. And part of that is from struggles I've had in the past and just seeing the people around me, and especially in dairy farming, things haven't been good for a while. I've seen this meme going around Facebook, I think, where it's not that I'm glad that other parts of agriculture are struggling right now. Obviously I'm not, but there's a picture of a crop farmer or a pig farmer or something on this side. looking down like they're struggling. And then there's a picture of a dairy farm over here. It's just like the dairy farmer's like, oh, is this your first time? Because I feel like that's what it's been like. Like we've been here for 5 years now. Not that that's good, but if we can't laugh at it a little, the alternative is too depressing. So, I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't have any degrees in mental health or therapy or anything like that. I just, from what I've been doing through the industry and people talking to me and what I've gone through in my life, these are things that have helped me. And right now, stress is worse than ever. I mean, we're used to things being uncontrollable, whether the milk price, cows are biological beings that don't listen to things you say or can't tell you how you feel. That's also out of our control. But right now it's worse than ever, like with the COVID-19 and the shutdowns and the dumping milk. So these are some things that have helped me over the years and things that I think have helped other people. So the first thing I think for me, and some of this might not apply to you, but owning up to the fact that you're not feeling like yourself is a big one for me. And it sounds pathetic, but that's really hard to do. I almost hate admitting that. For the longest time, I always said, oh, I'm just in a funk. And what you might hear me saying is, oh, she's not feeling good. She's anxious or depressed. But literally in my head, I just think I'm in a funk. And I think it's not that big a deal. In a week, it'll be gone. It was literally almost just a year ago that I realized when I say I'm in a funk, that's like my mental state not being great. And once I said that out loud to myself and realized it, then that's when I know I need to actually make an effort towards feeling better. And again, it sounds like so easy, like you should know yourself well enough that you know when you're not feeling good, but I don't think it is that easy because there's such a stigma on mental health that you don't want to admit that you're depressed or anxious or even just lonely. Like this is such an isolating life. Social media is my way of, my dad yells at me a lot when I'm on my phone. He's like, get off Facebook. But social media is my way of getting off the farm. I'll go a week or two and not leave the farm. Maybe I'll go to the feed mill, but does that really count? So I think owning up to the fact that you're not feeling right is kind of a big deal. And then once you put a name to it, or at least realize you're not yourself, you need to own it. Like you need to feel all the feelings that come with it. You need to realize that for a little while longer, you might not be okay. And it's okay to not be okay every day. And kind of part of both of these is there's this checklist when you know yourself really well. And sometimes it took me far too much of my life to know myself well enough. But there are things that I do every day that once I realize I'm not doing those things, I know I need to make an effort. For example, for some people, it's maybe, I don't know, maybe you make a meal for your kids every night. And when you stop doing that, you realize that you're not okay mentally, that you need to work on yourself. Or for me, if you follow me on Instagram especially, I sing a lot. I just do, especially Disney songs. If anyone ever wants to go toe-to-toe on Disney songs, please send me a message because I'm totally game. When I stop singing, I know I'm off. I may not be that bad down like depression or anxiety road, but I'm on the verge of it. What's even worse for me, music is a huge part of my life. It always has been. And when I'm riding in a car and I don't even turn on the radio because I just don't need to hear music, I'm pretty deep down a rabbit hole that I need to get myself out of. I am not a person who deals with the silence well. Even right now, it's eerily quiet in my house because I've told my entire family to not come in between 2 and 3. And not being able to hear any of you guys right now, my head is too quiet almost, even though I'm talking out loud. When I know I'm like by myself and I'm not listening to music and it's silent, I know something's pretty wrong with me. And I know friends who have kind of like a checklist. Like one friend, she shared online the other day that if she's playing Candy Crush too often, she knows she's checked out and she needs to kind of check in with herself. And then the last thing, this helps me so much just talking about it. And I think this is part of why I've been so open about it on social media. It started with a video I did 2 or 3 years ago. And I write for Hordes Dairymen and they've been gracious enough. They let me write whatever I want. God bless them, because that could be dangerous. They do read it before they post it, so that's probably helpful. But I did a video about, I called it Struggling Farmer, and it just talked about how everything snowballs, on a dairy farm. Like, a tractor breaks down, then you lose a cow, and then all of a sudden you realize you haven't left your farm in 2 weeks, and, and it kind of started me down this mental health journey. And a few months after that in our region, it wasn't a person I knew personally, but a farmer had committed suicide. And I wrote an article about my journey down that path. And it's still hard to talk out loud about. Sometimes it's not so easy. You know, I have friends and family first on that list. Sometimes it's not so easy to say it out loud to the people who know you the best. I have become pretty good at hiding when I don't feel good, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But when you see me in person, that's a really awkward conversation to have in person. So sometimes when I'm feeling my worst, my Instagram friends who I've never met know more about how I'm feeling than, you know, my parents and brother and family who I see every single day. It's just an awkward conversation to have. And that's kind of why I've been talking out loud about it, because it shouldn't be an awkward conversation. You know, my mom's a tax collector for our township. So we have an office on half of our house, and complete strangers, if I have to sit in that office for her, will tell me all about their diabetes or their high blood pressure, or that they're going through cancer treatments. But never once has someone come in and said, you know what, I'm just not feeling good. I'm kind of depressed and lonely and anxious, because there's such a stigma around it. And I think the more we talk about it, the more others will talk about it, and it will become normal. It might take us years to get there, but the more I share about how I feel, I know the more messages I get from people on Instagram or Facebook saying, I love that you're saying this out loud because I feel this way too. And one of my newest projects is called Secrets of Ag, and it's been, I want to say November I started it. And what it is, it's an anonymous website where you can go online and type in your secret, anything. I mean, the secrets have literally been sexual abuse from when they were young to I'm cheating on my husband or wife. They've completely run the gambit. And I think it's just a way that even though people don't know that's you letting that secret out, it's a way for you to get it off your chest. And I think what it's done is, one, it for me, when I say it out loud, it releases this weight that I didn't even know I was carrying. Two, you know, I always offer my advice or encouragement or support, and I ask others to comment the same. And I make it pretty clear that I will not tolerate mean or rude comments. And I've been so amazed with my little ag social media community. I think I've only had to delete 2 comments, and I've probably shared 100 secrets. And I think it just saying it out loud in some way, in any way, can make you feel so much better. For me, I know getting it off my chest is so helpful. So I have another poll here. This is one of the secrets I get, and I've had it written in different ways pretty often. I think we all feel this at some point. You just want to leave all of your responsibilities behind. Like, you know, you're driving home, and I know I've got to feed my calves in 20 minutes, and I was picking feed up for them, but I don't want to turn into the driveway. I'd rather just keep on driving. Even if I just drive in circles around my town, you know, or I don't know, head to Vegas. Sometimes you just need that, you know, that getaway. And a lot of the people who sent me secrets have actually contacted me personally afterwards. Like, I know who they are, and they say, thank you so much. I didn't realize how much I needed other people to see that and tell me that they feel the same way. So I have another poll here. Let me see if I think I need to exit this. Again, not, what on earth? How do I get back into the poll? Does anyone know?
If you take your mouse and hover down over, yep, there you go.
Oh, there it goes. Thank you. So are you a dreamer or a doer? And I will say, I think a lot of you will say some of both. And I used to think that too. And you can be a little of both, but I think you definitely have one way or the other you lean. I found out listening to another speaker a few years ago that I'm definitely a dreamer. Typically dreamers are more creative. You dream of the future or the destination. You don't necessarily plan out the journey. And dreamers tend to just believe. Like, I have this really stupid thing in my head. I just believe things are going to work out. And I know it's not stupid to think that way, but I don't always even take the action or plan out the steps to get there. I just believe it's going to work out because it always has, which is a very naive way of looking. And doers, most farmers I'd say are probably doers. Every time I think of this line, I think, you know, a little less talk and a lot more action. That's the farmer way. You know, you don't want to talk it out. And my dad is a doer, and it drives me crazy because I want to like talk out, find the best solution for something. And he's like, I'm just going to go do it. And I'm like, We didn't decide on what we're doing yet. Thank you for walking away while we're chatting. Working with family, huh? That's a whole nother presentation for another day. And they, doers tend to plan out the journey a little better. Like they can see the destination. But as a dreamer, sometimes I think of how good the end is going to be over how to get to the end. Like I said, you can be some of both, but I think everybody leans one way or the other. Those are the results. I keep forgetting to share the results. And I think it's really important to know which you are. You can still see my screen, right? Hopefully.
We can see your screen. Because I'm a co-host, I'm not sure if everybody saw the results being shared. But,
oh, okay.
Um,
All right. Well, I think it's really important to know what you are because I think it helps you cope with it. When you know who you are, like I said, you can kind of have a checklist in your head of, when you, like my checklist is when I don't sing, which is probably more of a dreamer's thing than a doer's thing. Maybe your checklist is when you walk past the corner of your barn where people stack crap. Usually you put it away, but maybe when you're not feeling yourself, you just walk past it because you just can't in your head find the energy to do that. It helps you know when you're not okay a little bit. And it kind of helps you figure out how to fix it. So for example, for me, I tend to embrace the silly. I call these my Elton John glasses because they make me feel like Elton John and they get glitter all over me and they actually show pink. So again, if you follow me online, I don't take life really seriously. Maybe it's, check this out. I'm learning balloon animals. Look at this. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty proud of this creation. It may have taken me an hour and like 7 balloons to figure it out, but I made this like half an hour ago, huh? That's a pretty sweet flower. Then of course there's the typical, little like wiener dog. Or maybe you go online and for $5, buy 100 of these bendy straw tropical umbrella glasses on Amazon and then drink chocolate milk with it out of a wine glass. I'm not gonna lie, I needed that drink. Even my dad, like I said, I think it's funny because we are a lot alike, but we're also very different in that he is not even a little bit a dreamer. But it's pretty funny when my brother and I spend half an hour one afternoon making balloon animals and he walks in and has to move a balloon flower off his chair and kind of smiles a little bit when he does so. Like 3 seconds of a smile, probably 0.3 seconds of a smile. But you don't know how much that can change someone's day. Embracing the silly is something that has gotten me much further in life than I thought it would. But sometimes it's exactly what you need. Changing your routine can help. I know I milk every morning and 3 or 4 nights a week, and we're weird farmers. We milk at 7 and 7. I hate the morning. I still tell everyone the hardest thing I do every day is get out of bed. I absolutely hate it. But we're in the barn until midnight a lot of nights. So it's not like I'm getting more sleep than any of you. I'm just doing it at a different shift of day. But I know even when we're doing field work, the mornings that they let me go mow hay instead of milk cows completely changes my week. I love my cows, but they're also, I always tell people working with my family and milking cows are the best and worst parts of my job. And I think you all know what I mean. So the days that I'll still work. I'm not afraid of working. I'm just not doing what I do every single day can make me feel $1 million times better. And lastly, I think doing something good for someone else is such a big deal for me. Like knowing that you made someone else smile and that could have completely changed their entire day makes me feel so good. So maybe going out of your way to make someone laugh, or even just sending them a message on Instagram or Facebook or something and saying, hey, you haven't posted in a while, how are you doing? To know that you crossed someone's mind and they let you know that is a really good feeling. So social media and stress is kind of a big deal, especially right now. We're all locked down and social media is all we have. I tell people a lot, this comes from us. Like, you can't let it add to your anxiety. And, you know, that's really hard to say because I know some people, it is their anxiety, which is crazy. And I have been there too. But one of the things that I've really followed over the last year, especially, is unfollow people if they're making you feel bad. You know, even if they're making you feel jealous about what they post, or you think you have post better things than them, but they have 10,000 more followers than you do, unfollow them for a week, a month. Even if it's your friend and it's just because you're jealous of what they're doing, do what you got to do, man. You know, unfollow them for as long as you need to. You can always refollow them later. I'm not saying go block everybody on Instagram, but that's something that's really helped me, actually. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Sometimes it might take you a while to find those people, but kind of people who compliment you. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. And a big one of this is it doesn't have to be all agricultural people. We feel obligated, I think, to be such a big part of the agriculture community. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when I come in at night, I don't read dairy farming magazines. I just can't. I just did it all day long. I can't spend the few hours I get off sitting there reading about it. I just don't want to. And the dreamer in me wants to watch movies and pretend I'm in the movie and, you know, go down that stupid rabbit hole. But, you know, follow people outside of agriculture. That's where I've gotten some of my best inspirations and my best ideas. They will spark new thoughts and ideas and, you know, new videos you might want to put out there. Or for a while on Instagram, the photos of a bunch of farmers holding up one-word posters or papers, you know, and the whole thing was a big grid and it created a sentence. The first person I saw that ever posted that got that idea from fashion bloggers. You know, following other people can help inspire you and make you, I don't know, better at social media if that's where you want to go. So things that have helped me the most on social media specifically, you can create groups on Instagram or on Facebook, and you got to find your tribe. I'll admit, I've been asked to join a couple different groups, and some of them I've left, some of them I've just said no to. It's never personal. You just don't always vibe with everybody. And I have a group I'm in now with 11 other women in them that they're like, I consider them friends and I've never met them. We're hoping someday I get to meet, you know, at least one or two of them, but you can't feel bad if someone says no, because it's never personal. You know, the groups I've said no to, it's either just, I don't know, our goals don't align, or maybe I'm just too busy. Maybe I'm having a bad day and I just don't feel like being part of a group that day. There's some I've regretted and some I was glad I said no to. It's never the people in it. It's usually more where I am in my state of mind. Make your ideas come to life, even the crazy ones. I've become kind of known for some of the videos I put out, some of the singing videos and just some of the bigger videos I've done. And I've had these ideas for like 5 or 6 years. And I really just started putting them out 2 or 3 years ago. And the reason I never put them out before is I thought, oh, you know what? I guarantee other people have thought of these ideas and they just thought they were stupid. So if they thought they were stupid, why would I make them? Turns out my brain works a little differently than most people, and they were completely new ideas. The best videos or posts I've ever put out there scared the crap out of me. You know, I posted them and then I was like, turned my phone off for 4 hours. Like, I don't want to see how people are reacting. I just don't want to know. You know, and then I turn my phone back on and 20,000 people have already seen it. You know, come up those crazy, silly ideas and do them. And the dreamer in me, that's the problem. I need someone to push me to actually do it. And it's funny because the doers don't always have the ideas. You know, my friend, I'm really good friends with Katie Daughter Pyle, and she's very much a doer, and I'm a dreamer, and I think we complement each other really well. So find your tribe, find your people who are going to push you to do that. And again, do something silly. And I don't post about agriculture every day. You're probably, if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to see a lot of stories of balloon animals as I try and figure out how to, you know, make the rest in the little book. I got $20 on Amazon for a kit. Come on. How was I going to pass that up? It's like the umbrella straws. Something I end almost every presentation with, so I'm sorry if you've watched me before. Never, ever, ever, and we call this Edward inflation hands, because we both do that every time we change inflations. Don't underestimate the value of making someone smile. This was our farm credit loan officer, like customer appreciation day. And yes, my brother showed up in a Tyrannosaurus Rex suit Jurassic World was out at the time. People literally like stopped him to take pictures. And I got there first. And when he walked in, our loan officer, Nancy, who's in the background there, goes, "Oh, I don't know who that is, but they've got to be with you." And I was like, "Yes, I'm pretty sure they're with me." I wear stick-on mustaches. I literally just have a pack of them in my four-wheeler. So if I have a hankering to wear a mustache and make a video, they're right there on hand. If you follow me, you know, don't be afraid to look stupid. My hair never looks good. I mean, look. That fuzzy hat is one of my favorite things to wear. I think our society underestimates how big of a deal it is to have the ability to make someone smile or laugh. I know I have been at places where I was having the worst day ever, and I hadn't been on social media all day, and that night I get on and I look at someone's story and just laugh at the stupidest thing. Maybe they were making a video and they fell over and they decided to post it anyway, whereas most people would have deleted that because it makes you look stupid, right? I laughed for 20 minutes and I went to bed feeling really good, and that was a big deal. So I think all of the things I've just said, and you really just need to find what works for you. You know, I think being more aware of how you feel is a big deal, and it's something fairly new to agriculture because we haven't been talking about this much. You know, farmers are the keep silent, keep your head down, you're going to get through it kind of people. And you know what? That doesn't work for everybody. And I don't think we can afford to keep doing that. You know, I just wrote an article last week for Horde's Dairyman saying, when you ask someone how they're doing the first time, you always get, "I'm good. You know, I'm fine." If you ask it a second time, you might get a different answer. You know, and I know it's not for everyone to ask it that second time, but if you do, you might find you get a more honest answer. And I think right now we need to be looking out for each other, especially in dairy farming, agriculture in general. So this is all my social media stuff. I am on TikTok. I'm not the best at it yet, but I'm having fun with it. So that's what counts. If you guys have any questions about anything, feel free. I think leave them in the chat. And someone was going to read them to me because I'm not that good at Zoom.
We do have a few comments from chat. And if you have other comments or questions, we do have a little bit of time, and then we'll move on into our next activity. But I will read what has been said so far. Somebody mentioned that Facebook anxiety is a very real deal. It's crazy. Someone else suggested setting a nighttime social media in time has helped them.
Oh my gosh. Hey,
turn it off.
That person, do not join TikTok. Because I like start watching TikTok at 11 o'clock and all of a sudden it's like 12:30 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God, where did that time go?
Yeah. Let's see. Someone said news sometimes means that you have to be a little bit vulnerable and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And then somebody loves the Edward inflation hands reference.
I'll tell Cole that you did. He'll appreciate it.
And then somebody said they need to start carrying around fake mustaches. They're amazing.
Like $8 for 100 of them on Amazon. Best Buy.
Yeah, they'll probably be they'll slow those down though, right? Because Amazon's slowing down non-essentials. So
who says those aren't essential?
Amazon probably will.
Sure.
Somebody said Google Eyes would have a similar effect.
Oh yeah, on your eyelids, that would be pretty fun.
Somebody else says I keep a clown nose in my drawer at work to help lighten up the mood some days. That's great. TikTok rabbit hole is real.
Oh my gosh, it's the worst.
So, any other comments or questions that anybody wants to share?
Quick comment about the vulnerability one. I will say the first time I put myself out there on social media was the struggling farmer video I talked about. In the middle of it, I kind of lost it and just started silently sobbing. And that was really hard. I sent it to them, and for the first week, I typed but didn't send an email every day saying, you know what, we don't have to publish that. Why don't you just send it back and we'll delete it? But if you really want to help people and talk about mental health, opening up about what you've been through is the best and I think only way to get people to admit to what they're going through. The more I talk about it, the more people, and women are generally more forefront about it. At the beginning it'd be all messages from women. Now I get messages from men, women, teenagers, going through bullying in school. It's really been an amazing thing.
Great. Thank you, Jess. That's I think it was spot on with what we were looking for our presentation. So we really do appreciate you being on with us, and think of, we've been able to bring you to Wisconsin in a way that we probably wouldn't have been able to before. So we really appreciate you being a part of it. And
well, thanks for inviting me. And if anyone has any questions and wants to find me on social media or comments or anything later, please find me.